FAB-Racing. It is Senior Mini's time. The Senior Minimotos led away by Bernie Hook. Of course, Bernie Hook has taken a hat-trick of wins to open this season. Matt Birkin, Josh Birkin, what can they do to stop the all-conquering Bernie Hook? Of course, reigning champion in this category on the gold bike with the number 0. And we're looking forward to... We're looking at trying to get an absolutely stunning race once again in this one. And we've seen so much from these guys. They really put on a show, especially that last race. It went right down to the wire until there was a moment where the traffic just got in the way of the Birkins. Bernie Hook somehow, just in one lap, cleared out by 6 seconds. Yeah, you can see on circuit that it's quite a stacked grid. There's quite a few bikes on circuit, so traffic is going to be an issue in these races for the Senior Minimotos. And definitely a more packed grid than we were used to seeing towards the tail end of last year, which is brilliant to see. But like I say, Bernie Hook on pole position, the number 0 on the gold bike, last year's champion, just ahead of Matt Birkin. Josh Birkin fronts the second row of the grid on the number 4, ahead of Will Howarth, who now, after earlier setting a faster lap, has now managed to get himself onto the second row in 4th place. Andy Weeden in 5th, ahead of Craig Ashall in 6th. The fourth row is Adam Ambrose and Holly Harris, ahead of Simon Huntingford, who's in 9th, and Mark Payne in 10th. 11th place on the grid goes to Nick Bennett on the 711, ahead of the number 93, Ashley Thompson. Chris Yeomans on the number 85. He is 13th on the grid, ahead of Ross Michael. The 8th row of the grid goes to Neil Skinner and Paul Nichols. Alberto Venteo and Keaton Payne are 17th and 18th. Rhys Gentry, 19th. Richard Kinnaird rounding out the top 20. And Rob Gentry and Paul Bayliss round out your grid here for round 2 of the Senior Minimotos. That will be the grid for race 1, 2 and 3 for round 2 here at Lydd. A different grid to what we saw in round 1. This will be based off of their fastest laps during round 1. So we will be seeing a slightly different start to the race as Bernie Hook looks to defend his championship and defend his winning streak, as it's a good start for Bernie Hook. But Will Howarth got a good start around the outside of Josh Birkin into turn 1. Did he make the move stick? Yes, he did. So a brilliant start there for the number 96 of Will Howarth. But it is Bernie Hook, your 2020 champion, who leads the way ahead of Matt Birkin, Will Howarth and Josh Birkin. Yeah, great to see Will Howarth getting a good start there. He's not really had the rub of the green so far this weekend, but right up ahead of Josh Birkin into 3rd place goes Will Howarth, and we know just how much talent he has on this bike. Won multiple races when we were here last time in the class, and of course has done very well on the Moto team bike as well. So a rider with a lot of talent, and he's now closing in on Matt Birkin as they go in towards the infield section for the first time. But Bernie Hook leading this away from Matt Birkin, Will Howarth and Josh Birkin, your top 4. Just behind is the 7 of Andy Weeden, who's desperately trying to stay in this battle for the lead. And as soon as you get involved in that pack, it's very easy to stay in the pack. But as soon as we've got a rider down on the final corner, it seems. But that is not hampered. In fact, that's Matt Birkin that's got up ahead. Is that it was Matt Birkin? Yeah, he's got up ahead of Will Howarth, sorry. So we've got one of the riders down. That's the 13 of Neil Skinner that's gone down. So he was in 15th position, trying to get back in this one. Looks as though the bike is... he's trying to get the bike restarted, but it looks as though a bit of a tumble. However, back up at the front, Bernie Hook checking out now. Will Howarth starting to put some real pressure on Matt Birkin in 2nd position. Now, last year we saw how strong Will Howarth was at the Lydd kart circuit. He took a plethora of wins last year. So in the dry, it was in the wet, he struggled a little bit more. So you've got to think, if he's able to get past Matt Birkin, he might very well be able to go and catch the number 0 of Bernie Hook. We'll have to wait and see if he is able to do it. Of course, Bernie Hook with the fastest lap of the race from a standing start of 57.7 as he comes across the line, and they come across the line for the second time. We'll have to wait and see who takes it now, but it is the number 96 of Will Howarth all over the rear wheel of Matt Birkin at the moment in this one. Bernie Hook, fastest lap of the race again with a 55.6, 1.2 seconds ahead of Matt Birkin as Will Howarth takes a little look up the inside, can't quite make a move stick there, not enough space for him to be able to make a move, but you can see he is desperate to try and get through on Matt Birkin, so he can have a go to see if he can catch the number 0 of Bernie Hook out in front. Of course, Bernie, 100% win streak so far in the championship. Round 1 went all his way, but it is now round 2, and Will Howarth is here to see what he can do
about your 2020 champion. Battles all the way through this field, though, with Simon Huntingford, Craig Ashall and Adam Ambrose all battling it out as well.
Yeah, of course, Simon Huntingford, dad of Charlie Huntingford, who we will see later on, and runner-up in the LC40 Elites last season. He was delighted with his 4th place finish at race 3 of round 1. We'll see if he can move up. He's currently in 7th place, chasing down Craig Ashall, and Craig Ashall just behind Adam Ambrose in 5th place as well. Holly Harris currently sitting in 8th place. She's currently got Nick Bennett just behind her, and Andy Weeden, who is all over the back of Nick Bennett. Andy Weeden, who's dropped down a couple of positions.
That's a chain. No, sorry, carry on, Gareth.
That's right. Matt Birkin sweeps back around. Will Howard tried to go down the inside. Matt Birkin said absolutely not. Swept around the outside. Whoa, Will Howard right onto the rumble strips, and that's going to open the door for Josh Birkin to go down the inside, and that's not where you want to be on these runoff areas on these mini motos. And in fact, Josh Birkin almost pushing his brother around the infield section. He's got up. He had a really good run through the infield section there. Just got up behind Matt and almost had to completely come off the throttle to not run into the back of him.
Yeah, using every inch of the circuit and more. There was Will Howarth, a little bit too much there, and just got a little bit unsettled, and that allowed the number 4 of Josh Birkin to get underneath him. That's just unsettled him a little bit, because he's just lost a little bit of time on the back of the Josh Birkin, and just as I say that, he claws that in with some good late braking there. And now Josh Birkin up the inside, so that is Birkin. Josh getting ahead of Matt Birkin. That is for 2nd place. Will Howarth trying to take advantage of that as well, trying to find go the long way round. That's not going to work. Matt Birkin trying to go up the inside of Josh Birkin, doesn't quite able to make it stick, and he's just lost a little bit of time there, and that's put him right in the clutches of Will Howarth now. So is Will Howarth going to have a go down into the infield section? Can't quite do it. Too late on the brakes is Matt Birkin. Bernie Hook, all the meanwhile, is extending his lead at the front. 3.3 seconds he has now over this battle for 2nd place.
Yeah, this is working perfectly for reigning champion. Of course, triple race winner already this weekend, Bernie Hook. He's currently got the fastest lap, and he's just allowing these 3 behind to have their own battle. Josh Birkin, Matt Birkin, Will Howarth, all fighting between themselves. That gap now out to 4 seconds for Bernie Hook. So the number 0 on the gold bike, looking at making it 4 from 4 this season. He's just got to keep it on the black stuff for the last 4 laps of this race. Josh Birkin, who's made his way from 4th place into 2nd with a couple of good moves on both Will Howarth and Matt Birkin, his brother, and he's currently sitting in 2nd position, and that's going to go right down to wire. But even further down, we've still got a great battle going on between Adam Ambrose, Craig Ashall and Simon Huntingford. Simon Huntingford's not giving up, and even Holly Harris trying to get involved in this party as well. Holly down in 8th position. She's only 3.5 tenths off the back of Simon Huntingford. Simon desperately trying to find his way up past Craig Ashall, but Holly, we know that she's a race winner here on the Senior Minimotos before, so she's got pedigree for being on the podium. She's definitely a voracious racer herself. She's quite happily sending it down the inside of anyone as soon as the opportunity arises. She'll be racing in a British Talent Cup as well this season, so it's great to see Holly making that move up down into the Senior Minimoto, so she's getting right mixed in with the other guys and putting the pressure on Simon Huntingford.
Yeah, breathing right down the neck there of Simon Huntingford, just trying to find a way through on the number 47, of course. Craig Ashall just ahead of them, and then Adam Ambrose a little bit further up the road in 5th place. So these guys battling it out for the second half of the positions within the top 10. Bernie Hook now at the front, extending his... No, actually, Josh Birkin has eked that gap in a little, only slightly. It's now down to 3 seconds. It was 3.5 earlier on in the race. So just controlling the pace at the front, I think, the number 0 of Bernie Hook. Josh Birkin still leading ahead of his brother Matt, with Will Howarth all over the rear wheel of Matt. And it looks as if Josh Birkin has just made a break on his brother Matt now as well. So Josh is just in a little bit of a lonely 2nd place now, seeing if he can do anything about Bernie Hook. But it doesn't look likely, as Bernie has etched out another couple of tenths over the last lap. Yeah,
Bernie Hook leading away at the front, and like what we saw in the early races, he just takes his finger off the gas a little
Holly
bit later.
Harris,
yeah, it is Holly pulled to the side of this one.
Possibly a problem, or maybe a crash. They're trying to get the bike restarted. Doesn't look like there was any damage on. Oh, and that's a crash in the background there. Was that one of the Birkins? Hard to tell, but someone's gone down at the background there. I think that was possibly someone that was coming out. That's the number 112. That's Keaton Payne that's gone down. So really unfortunate for that rider, but they managed to get back into this race. So yeah, Keaton Payne was around in 15th place in this race. So unfortunate for Keaton, but now back into the race and hopefully can score some solid points. But number 0, Bernie Hook, still out the front. 4.6 seconds is the lead he has over Josh Birkin. He's done it all before and he's doing it again. Just half a lap stands between him and his 4th Senior Minimoto win of the 2021 season. Yeah,
what an opening to this campaign for Bernie Hook. He's currently taken a hat-trick of wins. He's looking at making a quartet of them as he comes around towards the very tricky turn 6 towards the infield section for the final time. First race of round 2 is looking as though it's going to go the way of your reigning champion, the 0 on the gold bike. Bernie Hook, he's got to make his way around a little bit of lap traffic in the final corner. Might hamper him. He's going to have to go the long way around. They don't quite see him, but he's going to come up to the line. Bernie Hook, your winner for the first race of round 2. Another victory for him. Up to the line comes Josh Birkin. Second position for him. Matt just gets it on the line ahead of Will Howarth, who just has to settle for 4th place. A great battle between Matt Birkin and Will Howarth all race long. Behind, Adam Ambrose is trying to hold off Craig Ashall for 5th and 6th position. Simon Huntingford and Andy Weeden are currently circulating 6th and 7th. And yes, so Simon Huntingford comes in 7th. Andy Weeden will be coming around in 8th place. He's got Nick Bennett for company in 8th and 9th place. And will Nick Bennett, who of course we saw have a couple of good races last season, will he be able to jump Andy on the line? Not quite. He just falls off at the back on the last lap. Nick Bennett in 9th. Ashley Thompson looks as though he's going to come and round out your top 10.
So a brilliant victory there for the number 0 of Bernie Hook, just proving that he is the 2020 champion for a reason. He finishes 4 seconds ahead of Josh Birkin, who takes the 2nd place ahead of brother Matt Birkin in 3rd. Will Howarth in 4th ahead of Craig Ashall, who finished the race in 5th place on the number 81 machine. Adam Ambrose finished 6th on the number 21, just ahead of Simon Huntingford. Andy Weeden in 8th on the TiVo bike, ahead of Nick Bennett and Ashley Thompson, rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, what a race there from Bernie Hook. Another victory for him to open up his account. Exactly what he wanted. Birkin's mind not quite able to stay with him. Bernie just seems to be on another level this weekend, so it's great to see.
Racing.
As you can see, everyone's starting to make their way around the circuit in towards their allotted grid slots, and it will be Bernie Hook on pole position. Matt Birkin alongside him, with Josh Birkin just rolling into position now in the blue and orange leathers, and then Will Howarth on the 96 starting in 4th place. Now, who can get that run off the line into the fast sweeping chicane of turn 1? And, well, Bernie, he's had some pretty decent starts so far this weekend, so you can't bet against him.
Absolutely not. I mean, he's been the complete dominant force. 100% win rate for Bernie Hook, but who's going to be able to take it away from him as they get underway down into the first corner for the first time? Good start from Will Howarth. He took the inside line into turn 1. He's in 3rd place in this race, but it's Bernie Hook that leads ahead of Matt Birkin and Will Howarth. Will Howarth having a little look up the inside, can't make a move stick there, but it is Birkin all over the rear wheel of Bernie Hook. All these guys going to be looking to dethrone the champion.
Yeah, as they go through turn 2 into turn 3, and Bernie Hook still holding off the battle at the front. And behind Matt Birkin, Will Howarth up into 3rd place, managed to get a good run off the line against Josh Birkin as they sweep onto the back straight for the first time. It's Bernie Hook from Will Howarth. Josh Birkin goes down the inside of Matt Birkin into the infield section. A trade of positions there. Matt Birkin's found himself from 2nd to 4th in 1 lap. However, it's Will Howarth already on the rear tyre of Bernie Hook as they come around to complete their first lap here of the Senior Minimotos. Round 2, race 2. It's Bernie Hook, Will Howarth, Josh Birkin, Matt Birkin, and behind in 5th position, just by a fraction of a second, is Andy Weeden, and he's bringing Adam Ambrose and Craig Ashall for company as well.
Yeah, you can see Will Howarth now really looking to see if he can find a way around Bernie Hook. He looks really, really confident in this one, and that's a big coming together between Matt Birkin and the number 7 of Andy Weeden. So we'll have to wait and see what happened there, but that was a big, big moment between the two of them that just came together. Not quite sure how it happens. I can't quite call it. Probably a racing incident.
Yeah, we'll call it a racing incident, but yeah, so it's Matt Birkin who hadn't had the greatest of starts. Well, it's got even worse for him. Of course, Matt, a multi-time winner last season, but up at the front, Will Howarth has got to the front and he's passed Bernie Hook for the lead of this one, and this is exactly what we thought would happen. As soon as Will managed to get himself on the front end of the grid, he'd be able to challenge for wins. Oh, a big wiggle coming around the final corner. Completely lost the back end, but he's managed to get back on the pace. But Bernie Hook is now right on his tail as they go through the first chicane, sweeping around. Now, can Bernie do anything about Will Howarth as he comes and takes a slightly wider line coming into turn 2 as they sweep around the second chicane, almost a mirror image of the first 2 corners and down towards the back end of the circuit. But it looks as though Will's just extending that gap a little bit out to Bernie Hook. Bernie just staying with him, but has he got enough pace? Because at the moment behind it's Adam Ambrose, Simon Huntingford from 9th on the field up to 4th place. Great start from Simon.
Yeah, brilliant start from Simon Huntingford. Really flying in this one, up into 4th place. But Will is really flying as well. Bernie Hook doing everything he can to try and stay with him. You can see a real big contrast in lines there. Bernie Hook going really quite far out wide, but you can just see the tighter line worked for Will Howarth because he's just managed to eke out that gap. Of course, big moment for him round that corner, 1 lap ago, but he's back and he is in his groove. He is 0.4 of a second ahead of Bernie Hook. Will he be the first person to dethrone the champion in the 2021 season? He means business. He was so quick round here last year. Plenty more laps to go, only 3 laps down in this race, and he's got a pretty sizable gap now. So Will Howarth dominating out the front now. He's just dropping Bernie Hook, so that could be curtains for the number 0, but never count him out.
No, absolutely not. I think we've lost Josh Birkin from the race. I saw a flash of leathers as the leaders went through, and it looks as though we've lost Holly Harris as well. She's making her way back to the pit lane, so not a great start for some of these race winners from last season, but it's still Will Howarth leading away from Bernie Hooks, Adam Ambrose and Simon Huntingford. Craig Ashall now into the top 5. Nick Bennett and Andy Weeden, after that contact with Matt Birkin, is down to 7th. Mark Payne's made his way into 8th position. Ashley Thompson in 9th from 12th on the grid, so it's a good move so far for Ashley. Matt Birkin down to 10th place, just ahead of Chris Yeomans. They were split by 0.8 of a second across the line, but it's Will Howarth with the fastest lap of the race of 54.923, is 0.3 of a second faster than your reigning champion Bernie Hook. Bernie now 0.7 of a second behind Will, staying with him, but they've got an absolutely huge advantage, 9.7 seconds over anyone else as we've got a rider down into the infield section.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if we can catch the number there, and that's a second crash for that rider, so not quite what they will have wanted. Trying to get that bike restarted. Perhaps some issue there. They're looking towards the front wheel, so perhaps some brake issue or something. We'll have to wait and see what that one is. See if we can catch a number on the front. Not quite, but it is these guys still battling for the podium. 47 now is on that podium position. That is Simon Huntingford that's overtaken Adam Ambrose. Adam Ambrose now back to the back of this group, so Craig Ashall in there as well. So Adam Ambrose dropping down to 5th place now, with Simon Huntingford up into 3rd and Craig Ashall up into 4th.
Yeah, Simon Huntingford, who was punching the air with a 4th place finish yesterday, will be absolutely delighted at the moment, currently running in 3rd. Of course, Simon, the dad of Charlie Huntingford, of course, the runner-up in the LC40 Elite class last season, so well versed on these mini motos, and Simon currently with that 3rd place, just about ahead of Craig Ashall, but Adam Ambrose going with them as well. So we've got that 3-way fight for 3rd position. The gap now at the front is down to 0.4 of a second as Bernie's starting to turn the screw, closing in on Will Howarth. Last time around took 0.4 of a second out of him. Still without the fastest lap. However, it is coming down every single lap. They're on 4 laps left to go, about to become 3 as Will Howarth crosses the line and puts in a decent lap of 55.265, and this time around extends that gap out by an absolute margin and a half to Bernie Hook. 1.6 seconds. He absolutely smashed that lap, almost a second faster than Bernie.
Yeah, he showed us what he is capable of, didn't he? Bernie Hook thought he had a little bit of a chance, closed the gap down a little bit, but Will Howarth managed to just absolutely extend that gap over a second quicker. Within 1 lap, he is showing his dominance. Fastest lap of the race early on to Will Howarth. Dominant force here last year, and just showing Bernie Hook who is boss round this Lydd kart circuit. As you see, Bernie Hook just coming up to a little bit of traffic there. Oh no, sorry, that's Adam Ambrose battling it out with the number 81 of Craig Ashall. These guys a little bit spread out now. You can see Holly Harris in the background. She's managed to rejoin the race, but still some technical problems for her, so not exactly what she will have wanted at all. Yes, Holly Harris pulling to the side of the track. You can just see in the corner of the picture there, but that is now Adam Ambrose, who is now leading this battle, is he not?
Bernie Hook is now 7.2 seconds off the back of Will Howarth. Something must have happened. Bernie Hook, he did a 1:01.1 on that last lap. He was 5 seconds slower, and that's Holly Harris off to the side of the infield section. A couple of issues with that bike this morning, but Bernie clearly with an issue on that last lap. He's now 7.2 seconds behind Will Howarth. Will Howarth comfortably in the lead of one. Bernie in a still a relatively comfortable second place. He's still 7 seconds ahead of Simon Huntingford, who will be absolutely delighted with this if it comes to fruition. 2 laps left to go, and Will Howarth is making his way around, about to take the last lap board in a minute, and he'll be looking at picking up his first win on the season. But Bernie Hook looks as though he's just perhaps a little bit slow through the infield section, maybe not quite happy with that bike.
Yeah, I think some sort of issues going on there, because his lap times have dropped off massively. I mean, he was doing 55s earlier and he's now doing 1:01s, 59.2 on that last lap. So that's still quite a way off what he's capable of doing. So he's going to have to be careful here, because if he's running too slow, considerably slower than the rest, he could have Simon Huntingford coming and catching him. He's a good bit of a margin, a good 6.7 seconds ahead of him at the moment. So he's pretty safe, considering there's only half a lap to go for Will Howarth. As he comes up to some back markers, he'll make light work of them through the infield, but he doesn't even have to. He's got such an incredible advantage, 9.5 seconds, that he can just cruise his way around this final few corners, and the win will be his. He's just trying to make light work of those back markers, but he doesn't even need to. Cruises around the final corner for the final time of asking. Will Howarth comes across the line to take the victory here for race 2 for the Senior Minimotos.
Yeah, fantastic result there for Will Howarth. He takes the checkered flag and the fastest lap along with it. Bernie Hook is coming around to try and take second place. Perhaps a couple of issues with that bike. However, he does manage to hold on to second. Simon Huntingford, is he going to take a podium? He is. He takes it by half a second. Congratulations, Simon Huntingford on the 47. He takes third place ahead of Craig Ashall and Andy Weeden in 4th and 5th position. Adam Ambrose will come home in 6th, with Mark Payne making his way into 7th place from 10th on the grid. Matt Birkin's going to recover after that fall earlier on. He's currently in 8th place, so still not losing out too many points to Bernie Hook, who's in 2nd position, of course, and that's the championship fight we're probably expect to see. Well, I say that unless Will Howarth has got anything to say about it.
Yeah, Will Howarth, if he sticks around for the full season, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Of course, last year, missed a handful of rounds last year due to probably other commitments. But if he's around for the full season this year, he will definitely be one to watch. Of course, didn't join the weekend until a little bit later on, so we saw him yesterday starting from the back of the grid. But now he's got that 4th place grid spot. He really is a force to be reckoned with. But still, solid points for Bernie. If he's not winning, he's 2nd, and that's exactly the way you win a championship.
Absolutely, consistency is key in any form of sport. But yeah, great win for Will Howarth with the fastest lap, 54.923. I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted with his morning's work so far. A win in the Moto team class and a win in the Senior Minimotos, so on the big bikes and on the smaller bikes. Bernie Hook, reigning champion, 2nd place. Simon Huntingford, a podium here at Lydd, which I'm sure he'll be absolutely elated with.
Racing.
Bernie Hook will line up on pole position with Matt Birkin, meant to be in 2nd place, but I haven't seen him out on the out lap. Josh Birkin will line up in 3rd, with Will Howarth in 4th. Andy Weeden in 5th, with Craig Ashall 6th. Adam Ambrose and Holly Harris 7th and 8th, with Simon Huntingford, who had a really good run earlier on today, in 9th, with Mark Payne in 10th place. But they all get ready to kick off their final race of the weekend in the Senior Mini Motos, and yet it is no Matt Birkin in this one, so no attack from him. And we're just having a quick glance out to see if he's in the pit lane. No, he's not. So I can't see Matt on the grid whatsoever. So Bernie Hook will should have a clean run down to turn 1 on that gold number 0 bike. We will find out. Josh Birkin will be able to follow him down in through the first chicane. But Bernie Hook, he's had a really stellar weekend so far on these seniors. That 96 though, that's looking menacing. Will Howarth, he of course took a very strong victory earlier on today. What can he do? He's got a clean track ahead of him, but it's going to be, you can see Bernie Hook bouncing up and down, ready for this one. In fact, he takes the start. It's a good getaway for you, reigning champion Bernie Hook from Will Howarth. Josh Birkin in 3rd position. Great getaway for Bernie.
Really solid start from Will Howarth as well. right on the rear wheel of Bernie Hook. You can see he looked determined off the start. He set up the bike, he pointed it right in the direction he wanted, got that better start compared to Josh Birkin, just because obviously they were side by side on the line, and just managed to out-drag him to the first corner, and now he's right on the rear wheel of Bernie Hook, looking all the way through this field. Holly Harris further back here in this race. Of course, last year's first ever female FAB-Racing Minimoto race winner. And now going down into the infield section is Bernie Hook that still leads. Having a quick look to the inside is Will Howarth, but not quite able to make it stick just yet.
Yeah, we'll see if Will Howarth can chase down Bernie Hook. He was looking mighty close in that first lap. He can make a move around the final corner. In fact, he's going to go down the inside and takes the lead. Great move there from Will Howarth, taking the lead past Bernie Hook into the final corner. He sweeps into the first chicane, leading this one. Josh Birkin just trying to stay on the back of the lead duo, and he's bringing along Andy Weeden for good measure. Adam Ambrose. Simon Huntingford is once again making moves up the field. Started in 9th. He's now found himself up in 6th position, ahead of Craig Ashall and Holly Harris. So Simon having a really good run in this second round of the season of the Minimotos for the seniors, but it's Will Howarth. A 57.7 was the fastest lap last time around. 8 laps left to go. He's at the front. Can he check out?
He already is checking out a little bit. Bernie Hook doing everything he can to try and take. You see him trying to be as aerodynamic as possible down that, and he's just closed in on the brakes in the infield section. It's a really strong sector for Bernie Hook. He's been so strong around this Lydd kart circuit, and you can't help but think that these front two are going to break away, because they have been in a league of their own so far this weekend. It is race 3 for the Senior Minimotos, the final race at Lydd for 2021 for these guys. Who's it going to be? He is now right on his rear wheel. He's not letting him go anywhere, is he? Bernie Hook really wants this final win of the weekend. Will Howarth has come in, guns blazing. He's trying to get this final win, but so is Bernie Hook. Josh Birkin now in a lonely third. There's a bit of a bubble. Was that a crash for Josh Birkin in the background? After no, it was just a big moment, just another big Marquez save for him.
As Josh, as you say, still in this one, but up ahead, Bernie Hook. You always look, if you watch him when he's on the bike and he's chasing someone down, he looks so menacing. He's so ready to wait for any single flaw. He tucks in. He's got really nice technique. Of course, this is a big guy on a small bike, and of course, it does look. And if you've just tuned in for the first time, these are seniors on mini motos, and he does it to absolute perfection. They make it look like an art going around the circuit. They carry so much momentum, and Will Howarth, there's Holly Harris, another issue there for that bike. Once again, it's really not been Holly's day. She had an issue in race 2 earlier on this morning, and she's rolling her way back to pit road now. But if you look at the likes of Will Howarth and Bernie Hook, their technique on these mini motos is so good.
Yeah, it is incredible, like you say. I mean, you can see that how much they try and reduce aero drag down the straights. You can see contrasting styles as well. Bernie Hook very much with the classic Minimoto, both legs spewing out the side of the bike, whereas Will Howarth keeps his legs tucked in, always one leg underneath one of the arms for Will Howarth. Two very different styles, but you do see those different styles going all the way through the grid. Of course, for the bigger riders, you tend to see the legs splayed out a lot more compared to the minis, the younger riders, where they're able to tuck those legs in underneath their arms. But Will Howarth is able to do it, and it really works for him. He's able to reduce the drag, get that slipstream down the back straight, and be, but down all the straights, and be really small on the bike. And that's exactly what he needs to be doing. Also helps him transfer weight across as well. Yeah,
100%. And behind, one man that's also doing a great job of that is Simon Huntingford in 6th position, chasing down Adam Ambrose, looking for another top 5 result. Is Simon, of course, dad of Charlie Huntingford, last season's runner-up in the LC40 Elites, and Simon currently in that 6th position. He's got Craig Ashall not too far behind. Equally behind them, Mark Payne and Ashley Thompson are having a fight over 8th and 9th and 10th position, but it's Will Howarth leading this one away. 1.9 seconds across the line last time around, with the fastest lap of 55.053 is the best lap so far of this race for Will Howarth. Bernie Hook, a little bit of work to do, because at the moment Josh Birkin is 2.8 seconds behind, so he's a little bit of no man's land, which is not really where you want to be. I say that as Josh Birkin closes right up to the back of Bernie Hook on this lap. I was looking at my time screen straight back down, and Bernie Hook has now dropped right into the clutches of a chasing Josh Birkin.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that happened there, actually, because, he's right on him now, and Will Howarth is cleared off by 4.7 seconds. So there must have been some sort of problem there for Bernie Hook. He's just made his way through on Josh Birkin, and Josh Birkin trying to get back through on Bernie Hook. So something that we must have missed there, because he's dropped back quite some time. His lap time was a few seconds slower than what he normally does, but not massively off. But he is getting past these guys, and he is he's making a break from these guys now as Andy Weeden makes his way in front of Josh Birkin.
Yeah, as Andy Weeden uses the Bernie Hook overtake and sweeps down the inside of that downhill crest left or right-hander, and now he can chase down Bernie Hook, and Bernie perhaps being caught out by some lap traffic. Of course, it's great to see a load of these mini bikes on the circuit, and what it's doing is bringing traffic into play, which is something we haven't often seen in the last season throughout 2020. But you can see a three-way fight now for second position. Bernie Hook, reigning champion, Andy Weeden and Josh Birkin all battling over this second place. Will Howarth is currently 6.2 seconds up in the lead with 2.5 laps left to go in this one, and the 96 is really enjoying himself now. He's been able to make a return to Fab. Here comes Andy Weeden. Can he get down the inside of Bernie Hook? Not quite. Will that open the door for Josh Birkin to sweep around? Josh deciding better of it. There's a little bit of traffic up ahead. Will Bernie use that to his advantage? Puts a bike in between himself and the chasing pair, and you can see Bernie Hook chasing down Andy Weeden. So Andy Weeden now up into second place ahead of Bernie Hook, so a change of position there.
Yeah, and it's brilliant to see all these guys battling it out for this second place. Now Andy Weeden on that Team Evolution Engineering bike just ahead of Bernie Hook. Of course, Andy Weeden makes all these chassis himself, which is really interesting. Makes parts for this, they call it the TiVo chassis that he'll be running, and also has a few junior riders in there. But that is, just as I sing his praises, some sort of problem there for Andy Weeden, as now Josh Birkin manages to get past both of them. That unsettled Bernie Hook, unsettled the number 7 of Andy Weeden, and Josh Birkin took full advantage of Bernie Hook round the outside. What a move from the number 0.
Yeah, Bernie Hook chasing down, and it seems as though no one wants second position in this one. They keep on trading it. It looks though perhaps we've got an issue for Andy Weeden. He's falling off the back of the pack of Bernie Hook and Josh Birkin as they go onto the back straight towards the infield section. Bernie, who's allowing Josh Birkin through, it seems, just put the arm up, and will Josh Birkin, he does go up ahead of Bernie Hook, up into second position.
I think that's a problem for Andy Weeden or something, because he's really slowing up now. That was Simon Huntingford that made his way underneath him. You can visibly see he's pulling up to the side of the circuit now. He's bringing that bike back to pit lane, but now it's between these two guys. It is the final lap of the race, and they're side by side through the first corner. Who's it going to be? Who's going to take this second place? It's Will Howarth, who's 11.2 seconds up the road, but now it is down to these guys. Who's it going to be? Bernie Hook is really pulling away from Josh Birkin now.
But it's the 96, Will Howarth, leading this one by quite a margin, 11.2 seconds as he's making his way around the last lap. He's coming into the infield section now for the final time, and Will Howarth, he's making his return to Fab, and he's exactly where he's returning exactly where he left off last time we saw him, and that is leading it at the front. He's coming around the final corner, and the blonde bombshell himself, Will Howarth, crosses the line. The winner for the Senior Minimotos, and he takes home another win here in category. Josh Birkin and Bernie Hook, where will they come out? It's going to come up to the line. It's going to be anyone's guess. It's Bernie Hook that's going to take it ahead of Josh Birkin. They traded positions a couple of times across the line. There's a bit of a shake of the head there for Simon Huntingford as he came across the line. Perhaps thought that he could have got involved in that battle up to the front with Bernie Hook and Josh Birkin. However, it's a fourth place finish once again for Simon. Craig Ashall, 5th place. Adam Ambrose, 6th. And then a whole heap of riders all still battling out down the back end of the field. In fact, we've got a three-way fight as they come down towards the infield section for the final time down the order, and that's down between 13th position with Neil Skinner holding off Paul Nichols and Alberto Vanteo, as there is one of the bikes.
Mark Payne, I think, at the side of the track,
rolling off to the side, up to the line. We've still got fights going on. There's one being wheeled to the line, almost a Ricky Bobby style.
That's Andy Weeden.
Yeah, trying to finish his race there on one leg and 2 wheels.
Fair play to him.
As he crosses, comes up to the line very, very shortly, and it's always good to finish as he coming up to the line on that 7 bike, and at least he comes across and will be classified. There we go, number 7, Andy Weeden, classified in this one as a finisher, and
18th place for
using
Andy
it
Weeden
as a scooter.
Yeah, still beat a few of these riders, so brilliant stuff from Andy Weeden. Just didn't want to give up right at the end. He was in podium contention, ends up in 18th, but we all commend him for that one. Didn't want to give up, like you say, using it as a scooter, and just comes back into pit lane. But Will Howarth it was that took a commanding victory, 11.1 seconds ahead of anyone else here. Absolute domination from the number 96, ahead of not just anyone, your 2020 Senior Minimoto champion, just ahead of Josh Birkin, who rounds out your podium.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.